D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So last night, I watched Superman and Lois, and I was like, oh, I'll cover it in the morning because I'm tired. And I just have to tell you right now, this show continues to be very good. This episode didn't have as much action as I would like, but at the same time, we get that that dream sequence at the beginning. But they really are trying to hit you with the feels in this season. I mean, because with Lois and the whole cancer situation, they're just trying to hit you with the feels like all over the place. And I mean, I teared up a little bit. I didn't cry, but I teared up a little bit. I was like, oh, Lois and everything. So, and yeah, it's just really good. I mean, like, I wish there was a little bit more, but at the same time, don't we all, Um, Yeah, I was going to talk about Intergang and Onomatopoeia, but they didn't show up this episode, so I'll just save that until next episode if they do show up, and I'll talk about them and just like the history of the characters and stuff like that a little bit. I won't go into too much detail, but the show is definitely changing those a little bit. I wish they weren't as much, but yeah. In terms of where this show is going, so I was talking to a friend, Mr. Brown Alliance. You guys can check it out. I'll leave a link to the channel. But he was talking about how theory-wise, potential spoilers, by the way, that Lois, so you remember they brought back the guy from the first episode that had superpowers, the one guy with the helmet. And they brought him back they brought him back to life, right? So he was saying, well, Lois is probably gonna die from the cancer, and then Superman is gonna have to ask this Intergang guy to help him bring him back to life. Or her back to life. And I was like, that's excellent point. Excellent point. I'm pretty sure you are correct. So, then that's just a theory, I don't know where this is going to lead in terms of like overall, with Onomatopoeia and Intergang in terms of like at the end, the final battle. But we'll see where that turns out. All right. And saying all that, I want to get started on this breakdown and everything. But before I do, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm. And small channels like mine, they are just getting pushed to the back of the line, and we don't have any options. We're not one of those big YouTube channels. But I do ask that you please like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now we got that out of the way. Let's get started on this breakdown. So it starts off with Clark waking up from he hears Lois screaming. She says, Clark, and everything. And so he flies out of the house, and he's up in space, and he's like listening and whatnot, and he flies down to Metropolis, and he's flying through the city. And as he's going through, there's like an earthquake, and you see this sinkhole right here going down, and like cars are falling into it. Pieces of this building are falling off as he flies past it, and the city is obviously falling apart. And then finally, he's trying to listen for her, and he sees her from far away in the distance, and she's in front of the Daily Planet. And he's trying to fly, and she's like, Clark, God. And the giant globe on the Daily Planet, it falls off, and it falls towards her, and he's like, Lois, and she's like, Clark, hold on to my hand, I'll never let go. And then the thing is smashing down, and I couldn't tell if he saved her just in the nick of time, but I don't think he did, because this whole episode, when it comes to Clark, it's all about he's the strongest man in the world, and he can't save his wife because she has cancer. She has a disease that he cannot stop, which is really sad and probably debilitating for him. And he wakes up, and he looks at Lois, and he's just like thinking like, oh crap. So they're talking about how she's gonna go. Oh, so she's gonna call all. So she's calling Oliver. So first thing, crap. So she calls Lucy and tells Lucy. Then she goes over to the Kirschings, which a small piece of me is like, why are you telling them? I mean, I get it, they're your friends, but they don't need to know like a whole home visit. So, but I'm all like, it's fine. It's fine. What do I know? I mean, like they seem like besties, so of course you tell your bestie. She tells apologies. Sorry, it's early in the morning. I apologize. She tells her partner and friend She tells Henry and Nat, and then she tells her dad. And she tells her dad how she's gonna do. It's aggressive. They didn't find it, and sorry, I needed some caffeine. It's like early for me. I am tired. I'm staying up watching Superman and Lois. So, this part like really like because she was like, Dad, I'm gonna be okay, and he's like, sure you are, pumpkin, and then he just breaks down. And I was just right there. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, as a father, I was like, I totally get it. I totally get it, Dad. Daddy Lane, I get it. And hold on. And so then they're getting ready to go to her first appointment of the what are the drugs that they shoot? What's that called? Oh gosh. Chemotherapy. That's what it's called. So she's trying to look for, hold on, she flips this page and she sees this doctor guy. And she's talking about the story that she's working on with oh gosh, what is that guy's name? Ooh. I can't think right now. I can't think. Can you ever think? But so while she's doing this, he's like, all right, come on, we gotta go. And so they go into into the thing, and the boys have made breakfast. And they're like, we hear that chemotherapy can pop. One of the symptoms can be it takes away your taste buds. So you can't taste your food. So we made you your favorite stuff. And I was like, that's really nice. Over at the now Lang house, because it's now no longer the Kershing house. They're putting in their voice activation for their new security system. And Henry's all like, all set, yada yada yada. And she's all like, so you need to come home. She's like, is that to keep everybody out or to keep me in? She's like, a little bit of both. She's like, you come home right after school. And she's like, well, I have a dinner. I'm having dinner with Dad. So she's like, or am I not allowed to go to that either? She's like, fine, but come home right after. She's like, I tell you what, that girl. So these two are just like chilling or whatnot. And she talks to him about how it must be really hard with Lois because of, there's Earth 2 and it was his wife. And he's like, yeah, but she's not my wife. She's a completely different person. All right. So then back at the Gazette, they're sitting here and they're talking or whatnot. Long story short, they get a lead on that doctor that she flipped open before. And she's like, I couldn't connect this guy before to Intergang, but now I might be able to. So they found a location where he could possibly be, but she's not at the thing to get her to do her chemotherapy. And he's like, I can't get a hold of her. And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, but she's like, she can reschedule for tomorrow, but I have to give her chair to another person. So she missed her chemotherapy. And so back in the city, they find a lab. And she's like, electricity. That's the last thing you turn off when you want to abandon a place really quickly. So Intergang was here really soon. And they find this blood, right? And so that she gets a sample. She's like, oh, you just happen to have a blood testing kit? She's like, it was from my dad for my birthday. She's like, all I got was a $20 bill and a thank you card. And I'm all like, listen, my parents are the same thing. They just drop, a couple of sawbucks in an envelope, with a I love you, son kind of thing. And I'm appreciative. So you be appreciative. And she's like, why is Clark? I love that face. Why is Clark texting me? Why is he blowing up my phone? She's like, I miss my chemotherapy. She's like, you miss chemotherapy? She's like, you're going to text him back right now. And I'm going to watch you reschedule your appointment. So she sends it, said, I'm so sorry. I'm following a lead and totally forgot. We'll be home soon. And so Daddy Lane gets there and he's all like, yeah, she missed her appointment. He's like, you let her miss her appointment? And he's like, it's not that big a deal. She's following a lead. And I was like, I don't care about the lead. I don't care about the story. He's like, this is serious. We need to get her to chemotherapy every day. So these guys they're talking about it. And then and Sarah's all like, ooh. The whole time Sarah's all like, you guys didn't even get grounded. I got grounded. And they're like, well, you're the only one that lied about it. All of us told our parents where we were going. Maybe they didn't. Maybe these boys didn't tell them. Anyways, okay. So his girlfriend comes up and she's all like, yeah, we got kicked out of the party. She's like, I didn't hear about that. And they're like, oh, and she's like, you drive me home. I get off at tip. And they're like, you didn't tell her that your ex-girlfriend kissed you? And he's like, and bought you a really expensive gold chain. And he's like, please don't judge me. I will tell her later. So they're fighting about the whole not going to chemo because Clark got a kick in the butt from Daddy Lane. And he's like, you can't skip out on chemo from now on. So these two are chit-chatting, and she brings up a security system or something. He says something like, you want me to have a cop car drive by your house? And she's like, no, we just got this fancy new security system. And he's like, oh, who set that up? And she's like, John Henry. And he's like, oh, and so then back at the Henry's house. So he is checking out onomatopoeia because he's got some kind of recording of it. And he's trying to study her powers. And so she comes back and she's like, oh, because they were talking about giving Lois a gift, something she couldn't return, like a one-of-a-kind kind of thing. And she's like, we're going to give her a gift. And I thought I would give her mom's watch. And he's like, why would you do that? She's not your mother. And she's like, I know, but, she's going through something. And I want her to know that I care. And he's like, you know what? It's your watch. Do whatever you want. And so, yeah. I'll talk about onomatopoeia next episode because it's been a while since I've read the comic book, but I think it was onomatopoeia was created by Matt Smith, if I'm correct. And he only showed up. I think he's a Green Arrow bad guy. Yeah, I remember him fighting Batman though, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see. So he drops her off and everything, and he's gonna tell her about the kiss. And her dad comes out, and he's all like, "Baby girl, you need to get inside." I'm all like, "Why do you have an accent all of a sudden? Why is he the only one in this town with an accent?" And so he's like, "That's a nice truck. Must have cost a lot." And she's all like, I don't know. It was a gift." Yeah. I'm like, don't be a freaking creeper, dude, with your weird like shark tooth necklace and your receding hairline. So Clark is having this dream again, and he can't save Lois in the dream, and he wakes up and he's just, having those like sleeping panic attacks. So they're sitting here waiting, and she's like, I'm uncomfortable and everything. And he's all like, switch chairs with me. And there is a mudslide in Nepal, or a flooding in Nepal. And she's like, just go. And he's like, I'll be right back. So while he's sitting here, they're talking about the watch, and the watch doesn't need batteries because it works on kinetic energy or whatnot. And I can't remember what they say here, but he's obviously upset that she's giving away his wife's watch to Lois. But I'm all like, come on, it's her watch, and it'll mean something to her. So while she's doing this, she's hearing the clicking, all this sensory overload. She's getting sensory overload, and she texts Chrissy. Okay, it says right here, Chrissy. And she texts her, and she's like, any good luck today. But she texts her about getting any updates on other locations. And she goes to, hold on, and she goes to the thing, hold on. And so the bubbles pop up. You ever do that where you text somebody and the bubbles pop up? And then this one, Chrissy texts back, no. But you ever do it where you see the bubbles and then all of a sudden it just drops and they don't text you back? Doesn't that drive you insane? It drives me insane. As soon as I see the bubbles, I screenshot it. And then if they don't text me, I send it back. I was like, what the cock is this shit? You better text me back right now. Yeah, it's my sister. She doesn't. That biatch. Anyways, so she texts back no. And so she hunts her down. And she's like, what are you doing here? She's like, why didn't you tell me about this place? She's like, because you're supposed to be in chemotherapy. And she's like, there were some people here, but now they might come back. And I don't know about you, but look at this parking lot, right? This parking lot is completely empty, except for the one car. You think the bad guys know you're there? I think they do. You guys are horrible hiders. Or you're not being inconspicuous at all. I like her hair, though. Anyways. I just like the bangs. And then she's got the little top knot thingy. It's fun. All right, anyways. So she decides, we're going in here. I'm going in here. We're going to find this stuff out. So then back at the mayor's office, she's all sitting here like, I can't remember what they say here. But he brings her coffee. And he's all like, I thought you could use some coffee. And then he asks her about the security system, and she's like, you didn't come by here to bring me coffee. You came by here to ask me about John Henry because I might be getting some good D. And you don't care about me. She's like, if you want to know about John Henry, just ask me about John Henry. And yes, the D is delicious. She doesn't say all that. I made that up. But I mean, like, you could tell it was like in her face that she wanted to say that because she was upset with him. She's like, you need to leave. You get out of here. And so, all right. So then, so he's like, hey, have you seen my wife? And she's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, she left. And he's like, what? He's all like, oh, this what get one of those later. You know what I'm saying? Naughty baby. So anyway, so they're going through this thing and the bad guys show up. So they get in the freezer. I don't know about you. And I know they're just movies, but how come every time I watch a movie or a TV show, they hide in a closet? Or in this case, if it's a warehouse, a freezer. And I'm all like, you think you hide somewhere where they weren't going to go because a freezer might be important, you know? I would have found like something to like hide under that wasn't that important. Anyway, so they're in the freezer with a bunch of blood. So she's like, this must be the blood that we found last time, but you know, the little samples of it. And she's like, it's freezing in here. Can you please call Superman? She tries to call Superman, but it's the freezer is like insulated with something that Superman can't hear her. And she's like, ah, crap. She's like, how long does it take him? She's like, 3 seconds, 10 if he's in space. And I'm all like, that's fun. She's like, I'm scared. And I'm cold. So there he is in space. Look, you guys, see this right here? This right here? That's Michigan. That's where I am at right now. I saw that and I was like, man. I was like, Michigan. I should screenshot that and then like post it later and be like, thanks guys for representing. I'm right here, right there. You see that right there? I'm like right by his foot right there, just right there. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Or maybe, yeah, I'm right there. Or maybe it's like right here. I'm right by his thigh. So anyways, okay, sorry. Little fun, little thing there. So then he's there it is. That's America's high five right there. It's America's high five. Anyways, so he's trying to listen. He can't hear her. So he goes back to the DOD. He's like, I can't find her. He's like, you're supposed to watch her. You're supposed to make sure she goes to chemo. And he's like, you know what, Daddy Lane, I'm trying my best here, but your daughter's a little difficult. Okay, that's why I married her. He's like, it's okay. We'll find her. So back at the school, he's like, I got a ping. Somebody stole my truck. And he's like, oh man, I put the watch in the glove compartment. And he's like, listen, I gotta talk to you. Your dad was being weird about my truck last night. And she's like, oh, you think just because we're poor that my dad stole your truck? And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I think. I think your dad stole her truck and everything. And as soon as she walks away, they're like, yeah, her dad stole your truck. We need to go get it back. And so she's all like, Lois, I'm scared. And she's like, I'm scared too. She's all like, yeah. She's like, and you're avoiding your chemotherapy. She's like, for some reason, I can't remember why she said that she's avoiding. So she's like, did you mention to your dad about John Henry Irons and me? And she's all like, hello to you too. She's like, I just mentioned the security system. I didn't realize it was secret. And she's all like, I would like it if you didn't talk to your dad about me and my personal life anymore. And she's like, is there a list that you have of stuff you don't want me to talk to dad about? And she's like, don't get sassy with me, bitch. She's all like, I'm not getting sassy with you. And she's like, she's like, you couldn't even keep your marriage together. And she's like, you need to get, I love how Lana here says, you need to get out my face. She doesn't say it like that. She's like, you need to get out of my face. And I'm like, good one, girl. She's like, that's why that's why dad cheated on you. And then she smacks her. Hold on, let's get it. She's like, that's why dad cheated on you. Yeah, there she goes. Get out of my face. Yeah. And then she smacks her. And I was like, it's about to go down. I was like, hit her back. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a violent person, but you smack me, you better get ready to get smacked back. I'm not playing games. Like, I will not hit you first, but I'll tell you right now, and I may not be big. I may be 5'4", 100 pounds of nothing, but I will rock your ass. You know what I'm saying? And she runs away. She's like, oh man. Yeah. Anyways, so back at this warehouse, they find the truck and they're like, we need to go in there and get it. She flies in on her thing. It's nice to see the armor. I like seeing the superheroes. I wish there was just a little bit more superhero, a little less drama, but that's not what the show is. But you know what I'm saying. But this show is very good with that balance of action and, you know, drama and all that stuff. So anyway, so she's like, there's a bunch of mouth breathers in there, so we need to go in. But she's like, he's all like, my dad said I can't do this without him. He's like, come on, man, they won't be able to see you. So they come up with a plan. She's like, how long can you hold your breath? So they come up with a plan. And then back at the freezer market, this guy comes in. I think they mention his name, but she's there and he's like, all right, come on, Lois. Come, Lois Lane. He's like, boys, look, it's Lois Lane. And so, and then she's like, she turns around, but Chrissy puts the button. It's like, she's like, Superman. Like he's dreaming. He turns around. He's like, got her. And he like flies. He's like, shh. And it's like, bam, 3 seconds. He's like, hello. And he's like, Soryukin. And then this guy, he pulls out these jetpack thingies with the kryptonite flamethrowers, and he hits him. And then back at that garage, there it's a chop shop. Mommy don't know daddy's at the chop shop. Anyway, so they throw this smoke grenade. It lets off all this smoke, and then he comes in. But while he's running through, they take everybody out. They're like flying in and like and bringing them up and everything. Super fun. This was a good sequence. And he gets to the truck and he drives off, and they're all like, what happened? He's like, yeah. Like, we did it. And then Superman's dying. Superman's dying because it's kryptonite. And he's all like, I can't remember what the bad guy says, like, I've been waiting to do this forever or some crap like that. And he's like, John Henry, you need to get there now. Superman's vitals are going downtown and everything. So he flies in and he stops the bad guy. But he's like, he goes, you're next. I believe he says, you're next. And then he blows himself up. And it's like a big explosion and stuff. And they fly out and they're all fine. I would like to see maybe next episode some more Steel. I like seeing Steel in here. I do wish his helmet did look a little bit more like the comic book, but I really do like this. You know, they've got a lot of really good characters in this show. That's why I love this show. The characters are great. The writing is good. The acting is good. I think they do a great balance of the action and drama, like I said before. I just think it's a really well-rounded show. God, I'm so glad that James Gunn isn't canceling this. I'm so happy. Anyways, so then back at the house, he yells at her again for missing her chemo appointment. And he has every right to be upset with her because she shouldn't have missed the chemo appointment, but she did. And she's voicing her concerns. And I can't remember what she says here, but like I got teary-eyed here because I was just like, Lois, you know, and I know that this has got to be hard for everybody, you know. Oh, because she says she's scared to do chemo. I remember now. She's scared to do chemotherapy because as soon as she does, it will take away everything that is her. She won't be Lois anymore. She won't be Lois Lane. She won't have her hair. She won't have her taste buds. She won't have her strength. The things that make her her won't be there anymore. So it won't be her. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm getting a little bit teary-eyed right now. I'm like, Lois. I was like, oh, honey, I'm there with you. Even though I don't have cancer. But we all know somebody that's been touched by cancer, and cancer sucks. I hate cancer. Like somebody would be like, I love cancer. It's a crazy person. And I'm telling you right now, these two, their acting is they don't get enough credit for their acting. They do such a good job. And I will tell you this, his Superman, her Lois is amazing. I love her Lois. Great Lois. I don't know where she ranks in my Loises, but his Superman is my second favorite live action version of Superman behind Chris Reeves. He's my favorite. He's just a classic, and he's so good. But this one is my second favorite. Like, and they're just like neck and neck. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so she gets a call. And he's like, we tested the blood and we figured out whose blood it is. And she's like, whose blood is it? She's like, what? And he's like, whose blood is now? He's like, so here's my thing. Superman had to hear the phone call, right? He has super hearing and he didn't hear the phone call. Come on. Maybe he's like, you know, holding back. He's like having some restraint. So he's like, it's your blood. It's Superman's blood. And I was like, how they get Superman's blood? Now I'm interested. So then we go back to this little laboratory, this cheap laboratory, and he's all like, he's like, we need to find a new victim. He's like, keep him alive. And he's like, so then they get back and they're like, the watch wasn't in the truck, but here comes the girlfriend, and she's like, I found this in my dad's stuff. And she's like, we're done, right? And he's all like, I'm not going to break up with you just because your dad did something bad. He was the bad guy in this situation, not you. And I understand you defending him. Because she knew her dad did it right off the bat. And but she still defended him, which is it's a good daughter / good family member. Like I tell my family, like, even if I know you're wrong, I'll defend you in public. But in private, I will say something. I'll be like, you were wrong. Yeah, and you just look like an idiot sometimes, but you got to defend your family. And he's like, I have something to tell you. She's like, I am so sorry, baby, that I smacked you in the face and made you feel like a fool and stuff. I feel like a fool too. Please forgive me. And she's not even there because back at Mabel's table, he's having a little, what is that, pie? Is that pie? Let me hold on. No, he's having dinner. Ugh, diner dinner. Delicious. Anyways. So Chrissy walks in and she's all like, yeah, I almost got murdered today. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I embarrassed myself in front of my ex. She's like, you want to come over to my place and hang out, watch a movie? And he's like, I'd like that. But then his daughter comes in and she's crying. And he's all like, I'm going to have to take a rain check. And he hugs her and everything. And I'm pretty sure Lana is going to get a tongue lashing next episode. I hope they show it. Because I'm going to be there with popcorn all like, I'm gonna be like, oh, so good. And so the next day they're going to chemo, and they turn the corner and there's everybody there to send her off to show support. And again, I tear-eyed at this part too, because I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, if I ever get sick, I hope I have this much like love and everything. And so she's like, I wanted you to have my mom's watch. And she's like, thank you. Gives her a hug and everything. Oh, hey, got it. So then he's all like, all right, let's use that watch to get to our chemo appointment on time. And the boys are like, it's cool, it runs on kinetic energy and everything. And he's all like, listen, he's like, I know I was mad at you about the watch. And he's like, you did a good thing. I can't remember what else he says. I'm sorry, you guys. Please don't be mad at me. And I can't remember what I say here, but they hold hands and they drive off. And look at her. She's just, yeah, it's so good. Good face acting here. And you see the Kemp Farm mailbox. And that's where the episode ends, you guys. And it was just so good. It was just so good. I love this episode. Even though it wasn't, I love action. I'm one of those people that loves the action in the shows and the movies and everything. But I think that this show right here, it has heart. And I think that that's what you need in a show, especially this kind of show, a Superman show. I really hope James Gunn writes a good Superman movie that has heart and really understands who Superman is and what Superman is all about. It's not just about flying around and fighting bad guys. It's also about, just that I think that, and I said it in my season 1 review of this show, but I think that it touches to the heart of middle America and just good, American values and stuff like that. And I think this show really taps into that. And I think that that's what Superman is. And if you don't know what those are, well, you're going to have to search around these days, because these days everybody's very selfish. So anyways, that is my breakdown of this episode, you guys. It was so good, so touching, so heart, like emotion pulling and everything. But tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not? How did you not like this episode? Where do you think this is going from here? Do you think that theory from my friend where Lois will die and then Superman will have to eat some humble pie and go to the bad guy and be like, bring my wife back to life with my blood. What do you think is going to happen? Intergang, do you think there's some kind of super like intergalactic thing because Intergang in the comic books, and I want to talk about this next time, is funded by Darkseid in terms of their technology. So I'm very interested in seeing where that goes. And if they bring that kind of stuff in. But tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? You can tell me what you think and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on my next Superman and Lois breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.